Welcome to Talk with CK, your cozy corner for heartfelt conversation. My name is CK, and in this space, we explore the beautiful, messy, and inspiring journey of growing up. Each week, I sit down with someone special as we share stories about struggles that shaped us, the lesson that changed us, and the small moment of pride that made us who we are today. And without further ado, here is my next guest, someone that I am dying to talk to for quite a long time, Miss Tammy. Hi, Tammy.
Hi, CK. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for talking to me. We spoke quite a lot in the past few years. So Tammy and I knew each other from the corporate world, and Tammy used to handle my company's social media network in China. Owns an agency in China that helps entrepreneur and brands penetrate their exposure in social media, right? Did I say it right?
Yes, correctly.
Tammy, welcome to my podcast. I know that you're traveling to London tomorrow, and thank you for making this.
I need to let you know this is my first time on someone podcast at all in my life. Oh my gosh.
Great. This is my second recording anyway, so we're both new, so don't worry. So Tammy, you are a very special guest because I also don't have a lot of friends from China. And China, what I mean, China is not Hong Kong, not Taiwan. Sorry, I don't want to offend anybody, but you are from mainland China, from a city called Foshan in Guangzhou, right?
Next to Guangzhou.
Next to
Foshan is a
Guangzhou.
city.
It's in the province of Guangdong.
Guangdong, right.
And next to Guangzhou.
Yeah. It's
tell me.
I would say it's
Go
the
ahead.
second famous city in Guangdong, I would say. Because it's Bruce Lee, Ip Man, if you ever heard of them. A lot of people they outside of China they might have heard of Guangzhou but not Foshan. So maybe I'm using this opportunity to give you guys some introduction of it. So if you have heard of Ip Man or Bruce Lee, you might not know that Foshan is actually the hometown of Ip Man, the legendary Wing Chun master. He later become the teacher. Yeah, he later become the teacher of Bruce Lee.
So for people who don't know, Ip Man is like a famous historical figure that knows a lot of Kung Fu, right? It's a type of Kung Fu.
Yeah.
And he became the Sifu of Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee. And that type of Kung Fu is called Wing Chun. Wing Chun.
Yeah. So the type or the style of the Kung Fu is called Wing Chun.
Wing Chun.
So it's a institution? It's a school?
It's the type of Kung Fu.
I
guess there's a lot of type of Kung Fu.
And the school is still running. It's still running, the school?
I think I'm actually not sure, but there's a lot of school teaching this kind of style of Kung Fu. And I don't know why people have this assumption that people from Foshan will know everything about Kung Fu. So usually people say, oh, you're from Foshan, then better don't mess up with her. Then yeah, I will just...
That's a good reputation to have. Nobody dare to bully you, I guess. I'm from Penang, so people would think that I know good food. So I have to keep up that reputation as well. Like if I don't eat good food, then people are like, oh yeah, are you sure you're from Penang?
I know, it's like, you don't know Kung Fu? It's like, yeah.
So tell me about growing up in Foshan.
Foshan was really small, but now they become bigger because it combined with other city and now it's called Big Foshan. And honestly, I didn't know about Foshan that well until I moved away from Foshan because, well, my dad was a very successful businessman. He got to send us to boarding school when we're super young. So I started boarding school when I was like 4 or something with my own milk powder. So I would spend like the whole week studying in school and then I only get to go back home once during weekend. So my memories are like most of my memories about boarding school until I went to college in the States.
Is it normal back then for Chinese your age to go to boarding school, or is it only for really the wealthy people?
I would say it's rare. I didn't know about it until I like grew up and talked to other friends. Well, my dad happened to make some money back then. I guess that's why he got to send us to school like that.
So
and we have four kids. And we have
Yeah,
4 kids.
for a country that demands one child policy, what happened to your family?
My family is very crazy, I guess, and it wasn't it wasn't easy to have 4 kids. I
But
still
how
remember.
could that happen? Because I thought it's forbidden.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I should talk about this on in public, but I guess nowadays China is pushing 3 kids, 3 kids. Um,
So what
I guess
happened?
it's already too late. They tried too hard for one child policy back then. Well, I guess my it started with accident, I guess, and then I have my sister. I have 2 sisters, 1 brother. I remember my mom always telling the story that she actually need to hide from the policeman.
The
They will actually
authority.
literally chase her
Gosh.
around if she
Wow.
got caught by if she got caught having more kids, and
Mm.
she will be sent to hospital and get rid of the kids.
But she
Things like
managed
that.
to have four. Can you tell us, like, how did she got away? That's what I really want to know. Like, how did your parents, did they pay a fine, or like how? That's the part that's I think
Yes,
everybody wants to
I
know.
I think my father, father, he was one of the board member of some kind of big organization, and because of that, he lost his position. My mom just every time she got, I guess, when she got the notification from people around her saying there's a policeman maybe coming to the door and check out the family, and she will literally run to different family, my relative family, to hide. Yeah, I was still very young, and plus I was in boarding school, so I only get to listen this kind of story by.
Oh, yeah, you were in
Yeah.
boarding school, but it must be terrifying for your younger brothers and sister, I would imagine.
Yeah, when we hear the story, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
So now I actually laugh at the policy, the 3 kid policy. It's
yeah.
like, I'm not sure how you guys going to make that happen, because
It's
before
a
was like one
it's a
child.
society that is so different from the rest of the world because of this policy. And now it's damaging because of the structure, because of the unnatural numbers that's flip flopping, right? But growing
Yeah,
up, you grew up very different from the rest of us because you've never seen an election, you've never seen campaign. So you don't know about these things until you grow up, or how did you heard about these things? Or did you know that you're in a country that forbid this? How did that transpire when you were growing
yeah.
up?
I think I know more of China after I moved away from China. Like when
Where
I
did you
went to
move
the
to?
state,
You went to the States.
I went to Ohio for my college, like middle of nowhere. It was
Uh,
super cold, and then later I went to Tokyo for my career. It's only, yeah, when I'm outside of China, I know more of China,
mm,
because in when you're in China, especially I was in boarding school, you get very limited access to a lot of information. Even you're outside of school, the internet is quite different from the rest of the world.
and did you had a good time in Ohio? What do you remember from Ohio, you think?
It was amazing, yeah. I
Really?
because it was a special experience for me, because I make the decision to go outside of China by myself. But of course, my father supported me, and then I get to see different culture, different people. Because I grew up in a small town, even I like went to this fancy boarding school, but it's still relatively super small community. But in the state, everything is like super international. The way they think, the way they give lecture is quite different from the way in China. I make a lot of friends. I even like try to study Spanish, French, Italian. It's quite interesting experience for me. I was a nerd actually, but I was like trying to graduate as soon as possible.
Same.
I want to live off my parents. I
Yeah.
try to get my degree and then get a job. That was my mission, my biggest goal that I had when I was in school. I don't want to fail, and it's super expensive to fail a lecture,
Uh,
fail your grade in the state.
and you never want to remain in the States.
I was open to it, depending where I can find a job. I guess if I found a job in Singapore or Indian, I could have ended up being there. I just happened
Mm,
to find a job in Tokyo, and then
mm.
they pay all right money, and that's why I ended up going there and ended up working there for a few years.
What did you do in Tokyo?
My first job was a recruiter. So
Mm,
I was an international recruiter, help big tech company like
mm,
Google, Facebook, to hire digital talents, including social
mm.
media talents. I guess that's how the very beginning of how I get into my professional field right now. I get to see a lot of behind scene of this big company, how they structure the team, how they what kind of talent they're looking for their digital and social media team. And I got a lot of idea and understanding because of that job. But later I moved to work for a Japanese cosmetic brand, and I was doing their overseas marketing, mainly doing their Chinese speaking market, like China mainland, Hong Kong, Taiwan. I guess that's how I started getting my hand dirty in the field.
So in this recruitment job, what is the most challenging thing finding talent? Why? Because I would imagine at that time this is quite new. Email marketing, Facebook ads. Even today, people who are studying marketing today, they come out. I don't know if it's definitely not will not be the same landscape. So how do you find people who fit into these very new positions?
Right. Very good question. And beyond this, actually, it's even like more difficult in Japan because I guess they're getting better now, getting more open minded. But still, Japanese people they want to find a job and stick with it for the whole life. So when Japanese people they grow up, their parent will literally tell them to get a good grade from school and then get a job in a big company and climb up your ladder to work there and die in that company. That's the idea. I mean, that's how Japanese people think successful career looks like. To be super stable in one company, even they don't like get a lot of pay, I guess. So when we are doing recruiting Japanese, so when we're doing recruiting for company, in a sense that in a way that we need to persuade, we need to convince people why they need to change job because they don't want to move around.
Yes, because this is about changing job into a new job. And it's
Yeah.
very normal for us to change. Like, I know some people change every 2 years, like just to keep up with salary or whatnot. But that's not the same in Japan. Like,
Yeah, and the recruitment industry I was working in is kind of headhunting too. So it's not like people will come to you and say, "Hey, find me a job." I guess it's 60%, 70% is like we need to headhunt people. Like for example, Google, they have this position open. They expecting to have a new person look like this to come in to take care of the position. We'll literally look into the competitor and check all the places for that type of talent for them, and then use our way to reach out to them. We'll go to event. We'll go on like LinkedIn. We'll connect with different type of people and try to get closer to that candidate, and then have a chance to talk with him or her, introduce the job to her, and then letting her know that why she can consider to move to a different company.
so it's just to convince people to join the company. You're trying to sell the position, right? So my next question is, what do you like the most about working in Japan and what you dislike the most working in Japan?
So this is very interesting question too, because so even now I watching YouTube, there are people saying that don't get a job in Japan. It's like
Honestly,
is
I
super.
wouldn't. Honestly, Tammy, I have avoided all the Japanese companies because we hear so many negative things about, that corporate
Yeah,
working culture of Japan.
yeah. Yeah, I'm not surprised that there are a lot of people think in that way. The first job I was working is an international company. So if you work for an international company in Japan, I think it's quite different from domestic Japanese company. So luckily, my first experience was quite happy and international. But working in international company also can be quite wild because Japanese company is quite conservative, but international company they are more crazy about like goal and KPI. But my second company is a domestic company. I was the only foreigner they hired in their whole company life.
Yes, tell us about that experience.
Yeah, it was so it was like 360-degree different
Wow.
because I was coming from a super international company and then get into a super domestic company. So the one super obvious feeling that I have is that the company is very quiet. Like even during lunchtime, people avoid talking to like people in the public space.
No interaction. No like, hey
Not much
Tammy, good morning.
interaction.
What did you do last week?
They are super quiet. They will invite you for lunch and then talk during lunch. And that was a very obvious company vibe that I feel.
Did you feel
Yes.
very pressured? Was the meeting very pressured? Is there every stone untouched that you have to look into before you go into the meeting? Was it like that?
So for me, perhaps I was from a recruitment background. I actually know a lot of type of company, including domestic company. And then I guess my goal wasn't to like go there and please people. I was like actually want to do something for the company with my experience. I want to grow my career. I wasn't afraid to get into a different world that is so different from where I was coming from. It was struggle. I was struggling, especially I was working my boss. He was a super domestic person from like Tokyo University, like super smart guy. He could literally calculate without a calculator.
Wow.
And he expect me to do the same.
The same.
So that he want to turn me into him, which is quite difficult for me because I'm not that kind of person. But I did grow a lot from it, and I got to travel a lot to Taiwan, mainland, and when I look back, I think
have you have to learn the language?
yes, I actually need to. My Japanese got super good because of that. I learned a lot Japanese because I need to get to talk Japanese hiring manager and or the CEO or like higher level of people. Like you need to. Oh, it's always good to speak their language when if you want to make the relationship.
And what is the
deeper.
advice you would give to people that are going to move to Japan and start work or wanting to go to Japan to start work and live? What would be the number one advice you would give them? Learn the language, I guess.
Yeah, I think you need to learn along the way. Knowing no Japanese is quite. I'm not sure now, but if you decided not learn the language, I will think life could be quite difficult for you in Japan, especially.
I remember living in Germany. We have to separate the trash into 7 different. This is very unusual for Malaysian. We need to separate the trash into 7 different type of trash. But if you don't, nobody like I heard in Japan, if you don't do that, it's a huge penalty.
Oh my
and
gosh!
They
Yeah,
come
I
and
have a
knock on your
story for you.
door and like stuff. Like at least Germans are quite. They followed, but they're not strict. They're like they will be like complain that you didn't do, but they will sort it out for you. But I heard in Japan it's totally different.
Scary. I have a scary story. So I was I guess I was like, oh, I'm from China. I'm not one of you guys. And I was in stay. I was from working for international company. I don't play your game. So I was like put my trash like into one bag and don't care about the rule. And then there was a day when I went back home. My trash was played on the road, in the middle of the road, all spread out. My vegetable, my personal items.
What do you mean spread out? Like it's being arranged on the road, across the road?
It's very obvious that someone
Pissed off.
hate. Yeah, they piss off, and then they peel off my trash bag, and then they intentionally play it all like
For all the
on
neighbors to see, like, yeah. So what did you do,
to
Tammy?
embarrass me. I
embarrass
felt
you.
super embarrassed. Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, I only get to see this in drama, but I am experiencing this. And since then, I, I know how to like divide trash. I learned how to like put it in different trash cans.
So we've come to the second part of this podcast, and I have to tell everyone how I knew Tammy was that Tammy handled my corporate account for social media in China. I'm sure a lot of viewers out there who are listening watching who are not from China, who are absolutely no idea. It's a huge topic. This is a world of over a billion user. And Tammy, can you tell the viewers and the listener what is the landscape of Chinese social media? You're the expert.
I would say most common question that I get asked by a lot of people, especially the people working in the Western world. There's a saying that for social media, there's Chinese social media and non-Chinese social media, because like even in Japan, Korea, they use quite similar tool that Western culture using. For example, you guys using Instagram, like or Facebook, I mean Meta, Twitter, I mean X. Then in China, we use a totally different tool, like Red Note, WeChat, Weibo, Douyin, like all are different. And pretty much depending on the industry and the service or product you're selling, to pick the right platform that to showcase to present your brand to the Chinese audience.
So you have many powerful tools. WeChat, which basically it's WhatsApp and Facebook and everything rolled together, right? And then you have like Little Red Notebook is like an Instagram version.
Yeah, if you force me to explain that, that will be the easy answer. But I would say like there's no tool like WeChat. It's very different. Like we live with WeChat every day. There is a payment method. There's a Facebook like function. There's a blocking function.
Appointment
Everything,
for your dentist, like everything.
And people can build a program there, mini program that is on within the WeChat ecosystem. It's like you're building your own website within a app. That is quite different from. I don't see an app like that in the Western world.
Tammy runs an agency that helps a Western corporate to penetrate through social media presence for China. And for all the success story you saw and all the not so successful story you saw, what are the main starting point every corporate company can do to have their presence on social media in China?
Yeah, I think the starting point, I think, is I would say the mentality. I can tell you guys a story, like, and it's pretty common mistake people have in mind before they are approached to having the Chinese social media setup. They would think, I just give you guys English content. We have Instagram pretty successful already. Our brand is successful in the Western world. Why not you guys just localize it and then set up the Chinese account and post content for us? Just localize it. It sounds like all right. Like it sounds
logical, doable.
Yeah, it sounds logical.
Step.
Like
yeah,
because that is what they sell. Like how can that be different in China to Chinese audience? This is one of the biggest like mistake people in mind, and that will make them fail in China and fail quick. Well, localization is, of course, is important, but I guess they're missing the part of localizing the culture and using the platform in the way that following the different platform rule. Like for example, Red Note, they have a lot of regulation, a lot of restriction. Give you guys a example. There's words we cannot use, like if you want to say our brand is one of the biggest skincare brand in the children world, you cannot say the biggest. You cannot say you're the biggest, you're the best, you're the most advanced. Whatever you name yourself, number one or even number two or number three, no, the platform wouldn't like that. Your post will easily get banned, or even like more extreme situation will be that they ban your, they take off your account. And that is quite scary for a lot of brands, and actually happened to a lot of people.
Why do you think, help us understand, why do you think these words cannot be used? We are the best or we are the biggest. What is the logic behind that?
I think it's because for the fraud, it's not good for the platform that they are throwing this fraud or everyone naming themselves the number one, the user wouldn't trust the platform, the content on the platform. I think the platform tried to keep it as a safe environment, a fair environment. To the easy way is to stop people naming themselves the top number one. That is my assumption. To
Right.
that,
So it's really to stop fraud and false advertising, I guess. So what are you mentioned a little bit on the don'ts. Don't put these slogan. Can you tell us what else what are the don'ts?
I think finding the right talent, actually finding someone would be best to have someone located in China, actually, so that the time zone, everything is matching with, like, for example, like there's Chinese holiday, the content need to go out in time, and a lot of things going on on this social media, like a trendy word. You need someone really like understand the platform and the culture so that your content can be mixed with, like, integrated with this trendy thing, and this trendy hashtag or event will actually help your content to get more exposure so that it can help your brand grow quicker by using this, for example, hashtag strategy.
So people think a lot of corporation, like I did the same mistake myself. Like a lot of people think, oh, I have a WeChat account and I'm going to start having followers very soon. And it's going to grow fast very soon because thinking of the huge population size of China, there must be someone who's following me every day. And we don't see that. It's still a very long-term game. It's still a very long-term nurturing, right?
Yeah. Actually, this platform there's like organic and pay ad. First of all, like there's pretty similar to the Western
Concept.
concept. If you only rely on organic traffic, yes, it may be you experience that slow grow because you're not putting enough fund to get more exposure to the people. This is one. Second, all the platform quite different. Like Red Note or Douyin or Kuaishou, they're like, we call it 公域流量. It's like everyone can see the content quite easily, but of course you need to have the right strategy. For WeChat, we call it 私域流量. It's like private traffic. So people will be quite difficult for people to see your content. They're pretty much relying on like your friend sharing it and your another friend see it.
So each social media should have different narrative, you're saying.
Yes, and they're quite different.
I've been talking to some of my previous guests and a lot of topics about AI. And one of my previous guests was saying, my job has changed because of AI. And do you see AI in China I'm sure it's a very big topic. Do you think AI in China will someday be more advanced than in, the AIs in America? And what's the landscape like in terms of people adopting AI in China?
Yeah. So I don't know if China is being faster or behind. I know the whole world now is changing because of AI. Maybe I give you guys a amazing example that I just bought a car. Automotive industry is doing pretty well in China. A lot of like new brand coming up. Like there's brand on the road. I don't know how to call the name. So I bought a car. I learned driving really hard. I learned how to park, and this car just saved me. Like this car made me feel like I don't need to actually learn because it parked for me. So I would literally just like ask the car, "Hey, please find me a parking slot," and it will. And I only need to press the button, and the car will park it for me within like 1 minute, 2 minutes, like much better than I park.
Yeah, I want to talk a bit more because I mean, corporate world smells opportunity, and it's all about getting the best product out there. And this like car industry is very competitive in China. These AIs are basically collecting data and knowing what our preferences are. And so do you think the Chinese people really embrace that?
Yeah, I think there's always like good and bad. When there's new thing come out, people like will take time to adapt. I can't speak for all the Chinese people, but at least people around me, they have no issue about like giving the data as long as they open to use that tool, which means they agree to exchange with their information. Chinese people are pretty open to that.
When you buy that car, did you know that function? Did the salesperson explain to you that, this car can and collecting data from you and can do this? Did you already know that when you,
Yeah,
want to purchase that?
the salesperson didn't point out the collecting data part. I
Uh-huh.
guess that part is like I kind of understand that.
Right.
For not only car, like maybe like ChatGPT or like DeepSeek and all this technology too. But for the parking function, yes, it's one of the highlight for
Oh, so
the
he
selling
was
point for that car.
highlighting this function which attracted you to that car.
Yes, and not only
Ah,
that, like the battery. I think this is the only one car in China or in the whole world, I don't know, that you can swap a battery, for only like three minutes. They have a lot of like station, like battery station, and then you only get to ask the car to find you the closest one
nearest.
that
Uh-huh.
near you. You just park your car within the garage kind of thing, and then you get your battery swap
What do you mean
within 3
swap?
minutes.
The old one and the new one swap? Who give you the new one?
Um, At the garage, there's no people serving you, so you park your
Okay.
car within the garage.
Okay.
Make sure that your door is closed. You can keep your window open, and there
Okay.
will be like a robot thing. Grab
There's
your
a
battery out, and then give you a new battery.
so
Um,
there's a
at
there's
the
a robot. So you just sit in the car and then there's a
Yes.
robot coming to service you.
You wouldn't see the robot, but I
Uh-huh.
assume there is like a hand, like there is robotic system
So
going on.
it reaches underneath the car or something?
Yes, you can feel the car, and the car will speak to you. It's like relax. You'll feel a little bit shaking, and then it will take only like 1 to 3 minutes. Will you'll be fine. Something like that.
I
um,
never heard that in any other country. That is
I ne- yeah, this is only one car, at least in China,
uh
can have that kind of function. It's called NIO,
wow. It's
NIO.
quite new.
Yeah,
But
it's
I'm sure
called NIO.
it's called
The
new.
N
NEU, I think.
NIO NIO.
NIO. Okay, okay. Well, I definitely want to experience that. I've never.
Yeah, BYD is doing pretty well. I was debating BYD or NIO, but I go for NIO. They not only having this function, they also have their own cafe.
Their own
It's NIO
cafe.
Cafe. Yes, you can
Wow.
use your point you can invite your guest
Guess.
to. It's like WeWork place. You can go there
Hmm.
as long as you're a member. You can use that space to work.
Hmm.
In internet, there's coffee, everything.
That's why I'm so glad to have you as a guest, because a lot of people still don't know China is so advanced and well ahead of the rest of the world. And people still think China is very conservative because the politics is very different. And people think so many other things about China, but not focusing on these incredible progress that China has made with such lightning speed that I think that's the only country that could really stand up to America in terms of technology and development wise. So thank you for sharing that with us. Now, you had an incredible life. I mean, studying in the States, working in Japan, the challenges, and now you have your own agency and company back in China. So share with us what are the best advice you received.
Yeah. Think the biggest advice I will give to people or give to a younger self me is go out more to see the world.
See the world.
You realize how small we are, and there's a lot of way to live, to make money. So if you see more things, you will have more perspective when you approach to the same issue.
I think a lot of young people, especially, are stuck to their mobile phones, believing everything they watched on TikTok or Little Red Book and not see the real thing themselves. And I have a channel. It's called Psychology, and it's after my name, CK. But the word see, I thought was very important. You have to go out and see the world yourself,
Mm.
experience it yourself, not through a TV, reading through books, or watch social media. Because seeing it, being there, feeling it, talking to the people on the ground, it's far more than you will ever learn in any university.
That's really good speak. Yeah, go out more, get inspired by different people in real life. I think like
Mm,
social media, all this like thing is good. But I think we need to have a good balance of that. Like reading
mm,
book, they're all good, but I think yes, you're right. Like I think young people they thought like watching social media is watching the whole world, which is not
mm.
like completely
It's
wrong. But
completely not true.
yeah,
Completely not true. I mean, I try to tell people through my channel what it's like to eat this food, what it's like sitting in this restaurant, but I still encourage people to come. I'm showing you the place, but I still encourage my viewers to come and see the restaurant yourself, sit by the river and eat this because it's an experience. And this is the experience that I want to showcase you. But I still encourage people to go out and come and eat these food.
yeah, they could have different like feedback or
Yeah.
different experience, even like
Yeah.
approaching the same thing, eating the same thing, going to the same place. Yeah, I think, and yeah, the world is bigger than we thought.
Yeah, absolutely. So, last question, Tammy, to wrap up this podcast. Looking back, what are you most proud of?
I thought it was the question that. Okay, let me think. Proud. I would say don't be afraid of failing. It sounds very cheesy, but I do think in that way. I don't see any successful people. They don't fail at all. I think failure and successful. I mean, I think failure and success happen always in the same time. You get something, you lose something. The best is to have the mentality to try and not be afraid. We can always learn from experience, and that is the only way we can learn, by doing, by failing. I would say that is what I'm proud of myself, that maybe I grew up in an environment that I got encouraged to think in that way. Yeah.
That's very wise. There's a saying in Chinese, 失败乃成功之母, right? Everybody failed. So don't be discouraged when you fail, because everybody failed. I don't know anybody who have not failed and has made the right decision all the time. And it is when failing we learn, and by failing we grow.
Yeah.
So with that, thank you so much, Tammy, for your time. I am going to China in October. In the past, I didn't spend too much time. It's just work and then I'm off. But now I've been doing my own thing. So I hope to stay in China longer, see China more. Thank you. And please sign up for my newsletter and I'll have more guests for the next episode of our podcast. Thank you, Tammy. 再见. Bye.
再见，拜。